A lot of people think manifestation is just sitting down, closing your eyes, and wishing hard for things to appear. Like you visualize a car, and somehow it shows up in your driveway. That's why so many people dismiss it as fake or useless, because they think it's only about wishing. But here's the truth I discovered. Manifestation isn't magic. It's not some mystical formula where the universe bends to your mood. It's alignment. And the moment I started understanding that, my entire life began to shift. Think about it this way. Every day, you're already manifesting. Not intentionally, maybe not consciously, but you are. The beliefs you carry, the self-image you hold, the confidence or lack of it you walk with, that's shaping the opportunities you notice, the risks you take, the doors you step into. Manifestation isn't about waiting for life to change. It's about realizing life is already reflecting what's inside you. I learned this the hard way. For years, I worked hard, I hustled, I tried to do all the right things. Study more, work longer hours, play by the rules. But the truth? I was stuck. No matter how hard I worked, my income plateaued. My opportunities stayed the same. And deep down, I started to believe maybe this was it. Maybe this was my limit. Then I came across the idea that shook me. What if it's not about effort first, but alignment? What if the reason I was hitting a ceiling wasn't because I lacked talent or discipline, but because inside I was carrying beliefs and an image of myself that couldn't support the life I said I wanted? That was the turning point. Because once I began to see manifestation not as a wish game, but as a process of aligning my beliefs, my self-image, and my confidence, everything shifted. Suddenly, the things I used to think were impossible became natural. The opportunities I once missed, I started seeing everywhere. And here's the part that surprised me most. It wasn't about doing more. It was about becoming more. Because who you are shapes what you do, and what you do shapes what you have. That's the real law of manifestation. It's not have, do, be. It's be, do, have. So if you've ever wondered why your vision board hasn't turned into reality, or why affirmations feel empty after a while, maybe it's because you were missing these 3 keys that I'll share with you today. Because manifestation works, but only if you understand how belief, self-image, and confidence align together. And once I understood that, my life really did change. In the next part, I want to take you into the first piece of the puzzle. Beliefs. How the beliefs you carry, often picked up from childhood or society, shape the reality you live today. And how to reprogram them so they actually open the doors you've been waiting for. When I first started learning about manifestation, the part that shocked me most was how much my beliefs were shaping my reality. And I don't just mean the beliefs I said out loud. I'm talking about the beliefs buried deep in my subconscious. The ones I didn't even realize were running my life. See, here's what most people don't know. You are living today in the reflection of what you believe. Not what you hope for. Not what you wish for. What you believe. Let me explain it simply. Imagine your mind is like soil. Whatever seeds are planted there will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, of fear, of I can't, guess what? That's what grows. If you plant seeds of faith, possibility, and abundance, then that's what begins to grow. But here's the catch. You don't always get to choose the first seeds. Most of them were planted in you when you were young. Think about it. How did your parents talk about money? Did they say, money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that? Did they argue about bills? Did you hear phrases like, rich people are greedy, or we're not those kinds of people? If you grew up in an environment like that, those words weren't just words. They were programming. They became beliefs that settled into your subconscious. And here's what's wild. Your subconscious is like a supercomputer that never turns off. It doesn't argue. It doesn't debate. It just accepts what you feed it and runs it like a program. That's why so many people in their 40s, 50s, even 60s are still struggling financially. Not because they're lazy, not because they're stupid, but because they're running on old programs they never questioned. Now let's bring in a little science here. In psychology, there's something called the reticular activating system, RAS. It's the part of your brain that acts like a filter. Out of the billions of bits of information happening around you every second, the RAS decides what you notice. For example, have you ever thought about buying a red car, and suddenly you see red cars everywhere? That's not magic. That's your RAS filtering your awareness to match your belief. So here's the connection. If you believe money is scarce, your brain will only show you scarcity. If you believe opportunities are impossible, your brain will literally filter out opportunities in front of you. But if you believe money flows, that opportunities are everywhere, that abundance is possible, your brain starts showing you proof. Belief is the frequency that tunes what you see. Now, let's ground this in the Bible. Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Notice, it doesn't say as a man wishes or as a man prays, it says as he thinketh in his heart. That word heart is important. It doesn't mean the surface thoughts you tell people. It means the deep, subconscious beliefs you carry inside. What you believe in your heart will always shape your reality. Let me share a personal story. For years, I believed money was hard to make. I believed it was always scarce. So even when I worked harder, even when I picked up new jobs or side hustles, nothing changed. The more I tried, the more stuck I felt. Why? Because my actions couldn't override my beliefs. I was like a man rowing a boat hard while the anchor was still dropped. The effort was there, but the belief kept me tied down. The shift happened when I started asking, what if my beliefs about money are wrong? What if the problem isn't the economy, or my location, or my job, but the beliefs I've been carrying since childhood? That question was the beginning of everything changing. Here's the first step to reprogramming your beliefs: awareness. You cannot change what you do not see. Start noticing the words you say about money, about yourself, about opportunity. Do you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford that"? Do you joke about being broke? Do you secretly think rich people are corrupt? Those aren't harmless phrases. They are instructions to your subconscious. The second step is replacement. Once you notice the negative belief, replace it with a new one. If your old belief was money is scarce, replace it with money is abundant and flows to me as I create value. At first, it will feel fake. Your subconscious will resist. But the more you repeat it, the more it starts to take root. Romans 12 verse 2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That word renewing means it's a process. You're literally rewiring the software of your brain. The third step is evidence. Start collecting proof for your new belief. For example, if you're shifting into the belief that opportunities are everywhere, start writing down every time you notice a small opportunity, even if it's tiny. Your brain needs evidence. And the more evidence you give it, the stronger your new belief becomes. This is why manifestation without belief doesn't work. You can visualize all day long, you can write affirmations on your mirror, but if deep down you still believe this will never happen for me, then guess what? It won't. Not because the universe is cruel, but because your own subconscious is filtering it out. I'll close this section with this. Belief is the foundation of manifestation. Belief is the soil. Self-image and confidence, which we'll cover next, are the seeds and the water. But if the soil is poisoned with scarcity, fear, or doubt, nothing will grow. So here's the challenge for you. What beliefs about money, about yourself, about life, have you been carrying without even realizing it? And more importantly, are those beliefs serving you or enslaving you? Because the truth is, once you change your beliefs, you change your frequency. And once you change your frequency, you change your reality. When I first started working on my beliefs, I thought that was enough. I figured if I changed the way I thought about money, about opportunities, about abundance, then my whole life would automatically shift. And yes, it helped. It was like opening the first door. But pretty quickly, I realized something else was holding me back. And it wasn't just what I believed, it was how I saw myself. This is the second piece of manifestation most people never talk about: self-image. Here's the truth: you can't outperform the way you see yourself. If your self-image is small, your results will always shrink back to that size. You might get temporary wins, but sooner or later, you'll sabotage yourself. Because deep down, you don't see yourself as the kind of person who can handle or deserve more. It's like having a thermostat in your house. Let's say you set it to 70 degrees. No matter how much the temperature rises or falls outside, the thermostat will adjust until the room comes back to 70. That's what your self-image does with your life. If your self-image is set at, "I'm average, I never get ahead, I'll never be wealthy," then even if opportunities show up, even if you temporarily rise above, you'll unconsciously find ways to bring yourself back down to that set point. Now let me make this even clearer with a story. I once read about a man who won the lottery, millions of dollars. Overnight, his bank account was overflowing. But within just a few years, he was broke again. Why? Because his self-image hadn't changed. He still saw himself as a broke man who just happened to have money. And since his self-image was still stuck in poverty, he made choices that matched that image: overspending, bad investments, gambling, until the money was gone. That's why changing your beliefs isn't enough. You also have to expand your self-image, because your life will always rise or fall to match the picture you carry of yourself. Here's an analogy I love. Imagine a lion born in a zoo. From birth, it's raised inside a cage. It sees the same bars every day. It hears the same zookeeper's footsteps. And even though it's a lion, a creature meant for the wild, meant to rule territory, it grows up believing the cage is its world. Now, if you suddenly open the cage, do you think the lion will instantly run free? No. It hesitates, it paces, it may even stay inside the cage, because in its mind, that cage is reality. That's what a small self-image does to you. It convinces you that the cage you grew up in, poverty, fear, doubt, scarcity, is all there is. Even if the door is open, you won't walk out, because you don't see yourself as the kind of person who belongs outside. And this is where manifestation takes on a whole new level. Because it's not just about attracting what you want, it's about becoming the kind of person who can hold it, who can live it, who can sustain it. The Bible talks about this too. In Judges 6, there's the story of Gideon. When the angel of the Lord appeared to him, he said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." But what was Gideon doing? He was hiding, threshing wheat in secret because he was afraid of his enemies. His self-image was small. He saw himself as weak, as insignificant. But God called him something bigger, mighty warrior. And until Gideon aligned his self-image with God's vision, he couldn't step into the victory prepared for him. That's how powerful self-image is. You can literally have a calling on your life, a destiny waiting for you. But if you don't see yourself as the kind of person who can live it, you'll never step into it. Now, how do you shift your self-image? Here's the part most people miss. You don't change it by just telling yourself you're different. You change it by building new evidence, little by little. Think about exercise. If you've never worked out before and suddenly you say, "I'm an athlete," it won't feel real. But if you start running a little every day, if you start lifting weights, if you start showing up consistently, your brain begins to collect evidence. I guess I am the kind of person who trains. Over time, your self-image shifts from "I'm out of shape" to "I'm an athlete." It's the same with money. If your self-image says "I'm always broke," start by creating small wins. Save $100 and keep it. Pay down one credit card and celebrate it. Build proof that you are the kind of person who handles money wisely. Over time, your self-image shifts to "I'm financially responsible, I'm a builder, I'm wealthy in my habits." Romans 4:17 says that God calls those things which be not as though they were. That's the pattern. You call yourself into a new identity before it shows up, and then you act like it's true until your self-image accepts it. Here's what changed my life. I stopped asking, "How do I get more money?" And I started asking, "Who do I need to become to handle more money?" Because if I became the kind of person who could steward wealth, the money would eventually come. But if I stayed the same person, no amount of money could fix my life. It would only magnify the chaos. So let me ask you, how do you see yourself? Not the mask you wear for others. Not the affirmations you post on your wall. Deep down, in your heart, who do you believe you are? Because that image is the thermostat of your life. If you want to manifest a new reality, start there. Expand the picture of yourself. See yourself as someone worthy of abundance, capable of handling it, designed to create and multiply it. Because until your self-image grows, your life can't either. And once you shift your self-image, then comes the third piece, confidence. Because even if you believe, and even if you see yourself differently, if you don't have the confidence to step out, to act, to claim opportunities, then your manifestation will always stay locked inside. So far, we've talked about belief and self-image. Those two are like the foundation and the frame of a house. Belief is the soil, the ground where everything grows. Self-image is the structure, the walls that define how big or small your life can become. But even if you believe the right things, and even if you start seeing yourself as capable and worthy of more, there's still one more piece that decides whether manifestation actually shows up in your life. And that's confidence. Because here's the truth. Opportunities can be all around you. You can believe in them. You can even see yourself as the kind of person who deserves them. But if you don't have the confidence to step up, take action, and claim them, those opportunities will pass you by. Confidence is the bridge between what you believe and what you experience. Let me explain it like this. Imagine standing in front of a door. Behind that door is everything you've been asking for. Abundance, freedom, new opportunities. Belief tells you the door is real. Self-image tells you that you belong on the other side. But confidence is the hand that actually turns the knob and walks you through. Without it, you'll just stand there forever, staring at the door that never opens. That's why I say confidence is not optional. It's the activator. I'll share from my own story. For years, I believed in the possibility of wealth. I had begun expanding my self-image. But when opportunities to sell, to present, or to step out came, I hesitated. I was shy. I was quiet. I didn't want to look foolish. So I let those moments slip by. And guess what? Nothing changed. But then I learned the truth. Selling isn't about convincing. It isn't about manipulating people to buy. Selling is persuasion, and persuasion begins with listening. The more I listened to people, the more I understood what they actually wanted. And the more I understood, the easier it was to offer something valuable. That realization gave me confidence, because suddenly selling wasn't about tricking people. It was about serving them. And when I combined that with technology, everything took off. See, before, my world was small. My business was limited to the people around me, the few who lived close enough to buy. But when I discovered online selling, it changed everything. Suddenly, I could reach people far beyond my neighborhood. I could talk to customers from different provinces, and eventually almost nationwide. Here's the amazing part. Confidence plus technology multiplied my reach. I remember the first time I woke up in the morning and saw that while I was sleeping, orders had come in. That moment changed me. I realized I wasn't limited anymore by my time, my voice, or even my geography. Because of confidence to put myself online, the business kept working even when I wasn't. And I'll tell you this, confidence doesn't mean you're not afraid. Confidence means you move anyway. I was nervous when I first started posting, listing, talking to people online. But every time I took action, I built evidence. And with every little win, my confidence grew stronger. Now let's connect this to the Bible. Think of Peter in Matthew 14, when Jesus told him to walk on the water. Peter believed Jesus. He even saw himself stepping out. But it was confidence, actually lifting his foot and stepping onto the waves, that activated the miracle. Without that action, the story wouldn't exist. That's what confidence does. It turns belief and self-image into visible results. Here's something I learned. Confidence is built like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And just like exercise, it's uncomfortable at first, but if you keep showing up, it becomes natural. Eventually, what once scared you becomes normal. So let me challenge you. Where in your life have you been believing and dreaming, but not acting? What opportunities are sitting right in front of you, waiting for confidence to unlock them? Because here's the truth. Manifestation doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards alignment, followed by action. And that action is fueled by confidence. For me, this was the turning point. Once I combined belief, self-image, and confidence, manifestation wasn't just an idea anymore. It became my reality. My life shifted from being broke and stuck to being abundant and free. Not because I discovered a magic trick, but because I aligned my inner world with my outer actions. And here's the beautiful part. You can do the same. Now we've covered the three big pieces: belief, self-image, and confidence. Together, they form the real engine of manifestation. And once I understood how all of this worked, my life really did change.